It is a time of legend. Mighty heroes battle for the right to rule the galaxy. The vast armies of the Emperor of Earth have conquered the galaxy in a great crusade. The myriad alien races have been smashed by the Emperor's elite warriors and wiped from the face of history. The dawn of a new age of supremacy for humanity beckons. Gleaming citadels of marble and gold celebrate the many victories of the Emperor. Triumphs are raised on 1,000,000 worlds to record the epic deeds of his most powerful and deadly warriors. First and foremost amongst these are the Primarchs, super-heroic beings who have led the Emperor's armies of Space Marines in victory after victory. They are unstoppable and magnificent, the pinnacle of the Emperor's genetic experimentation. The Space Marines are the mightiest human warriors the galaxy has ever known, each capable of besting 100 or more normal men in combat. Organized into vast armies of tens of thousands called legions, the Space Marines and their Primarch leaders conquer the galaxy in the name of the Emperor. Chief amongst the Primarchs is Horus, called the Glorious, the brightest star, favorite of the Emperor, and like a son unto him. He is the War Master, the commander-in-chief of the Emperor's military might, subjugator of 1,000,000 worlds, and conqueror of the galaxy. He is a warrior without peer, a diplomat supreme, and his ambition knows no bounds. The stage has been set. Hey friends, it's me, the Ebony Otaku, the well-rounded nerd. We're diving back into my favorite book series, the Horus Heresy, today. I don't know why I sang that. So, fairly new channel, but if you've been hanging out with me, which I thoroughly appreciate, by the way, you know that I am a huge fan of the Horus Heresy and everything to do with it. Not just the Horus Heresy, but the whole Warhammer universe. It is fascinating. And we're going to continue that story today. So we're looking at book 3 in the Horus Heresy series, Galaxy in Flames. Let's back up just a little bit before we dive into talking about this book. And I guess, spoiler warning for a book that came out 15 years ago, but whatevs, catch up. They have them on audio. That's my dog. He's just gonna make noise in every video. It's what he does. Let's all get used to the dog. Anywho, back to the book. So when we last left Horus and our brave Space Marines, Horus was on the moon at Davin and had just undergone I don't know what you call it, a revival ceremony by one of the lodges, and also, you know, an apothecary and folks from other legions who have already fallen into chaos. It's just that Horus didn't know that, and now they have a Primarch, the Primarch of Primarchs, the War Master, in their grips because Horus was stabbed with the anathame, which is a Xenos blade that's infected with chaos goop, and it got Horus and it almost took him out, but they were able to, you know, get down into him and imbue him with the chaos powers of Nurgle, who is the god of decay and death and disease, my least favorite out of all of them, and bring him back. And now, if Horus ever had any doubts or any thoughts about betraying the Emperor of mankind, he's going to turn those doubts and thoughts into actions. The world that we are looking at in Warhammer and Warhammer 40K is a universe at war all the time. This is what people do. Human beings are literally produced to serve the Imperium of Man, and if you have no purpose in service, you don't need to be here. That's just how they function. So Horus, you know, fulfills his position. He was on the battlefield with his father, the Emperor of Mankind, for many years. And side by side, they conquered world after world after world in the name of Terra, Earth. And eventually the Emperor says, you know what? I found all my other sons. You be in charge of them, Horus, and in charge of the war. I'm going to ditch back to Earth and go do some things that need to be done. I'm not going to tell you what those things are, but I'm the Emperor. Just trust me. Well, if you're a Primarch, if you're a prince of the universe, and your father says, hey, trust me, you're supposed to trust him. But I mean, come on, we've all been kids. We've had moments where our parents said, trust us, and we went, but I see you doing something sneaky. It's just how humans work. Even though the Emperor is a more significant and powerful human than others, he's still technically a human. And same thing with the Space Marines and their Primarchs. Even though they've got this, gene seed in them that turns them into something more than human, and they have all of these abilities and extra hearts and thicker skin, and they can breathe noxious fumes, and they're just the greatest warriors ever made. At their core, they're still human. And when humans have doubt, when humans are suspicious, humans think about those things. And if we think too long about those things, we act on it. And that's what happens to Horus. Not having a mind fully corrupted by chaos kept him from acting on any suspicions or misgivings he may have had about the Emperor. Because even if he didn't know what was going on, he was a loyal son, and he was going to do his duty as a loyal son. Well, when people crack open your spirit and pour chaos in, things change. And things changed. Horus is infected. His Mordenval, his 4 closest leaders amongst the ranks of his legion, who were called the Luna Wolves, now they're the sons of Horus, ominous, recognize what's happening. 2 of them are like, yeah, chaos. And 2 of them are like, oh God, chaos. So there's a split in the command. The member of the Mordenval we have been following closest, and from whose point of view we see the story, is Garviel Loken. He is a complex man, and honestly, this is going to sound like an oxymoron, if I can say the word. His complexity makes him simple. He wants to understand what's happening in the legions, how corruption is getting in. He finds out that there are lodges that exist, which are basically, guys' clubs. All the Space Marines are dudes, by the way. There are women chapters who fight, but they do other things. Sisters of Silence. But the Space Marines are specifically male. And he's finding out that his battle brothers are meeting in these secret groups and discussing things they probably shouldn't be discussing. And what turns out is that's how chaos has been seeping in to the Legion, because not only do they talk about things they shouldn't, they're practicing things that they shouldn't. In the Warhammer world, one can tap into malevolent powers, whether one is born a psyker/psychic, or if a person, chooses to tempt chaos. Because the chaos powers will answer you if you call them. But like all mysterious power, humans often don't know what it is they're tapping into. Now, I'm going to get biblical here for a second. There's a reason the Bible says, do not test the spirits, because you don't know what you're testing. Don't go there. Okay, I'm back. So, they're testing things that they probably shouldn't be testing. And chaos crept in. But when chaos creeps in, when darkness creeps in, it's not obvious. It's in the little things. It's in how people greet each other when they're passing in the corridors. It's a look or a glance certain members give one another. It's in the way people respond to certain information. It's very subtle at first. Then it becomes obvious when the leader is corrupted as well. Horus is corrupted. And we begin Galaxy in Flames with Horus taking his entire legion to a false battle on Istvan. And Istvan is where it all goes down. All of it goes down. The reason he's creating this false war battle thing is it's an excuse to send warriors who are loyal to the emperor to the surface of a planet and wipe them out. Now, some of the warriors know this is what's going to happen. Like Garviel, he ain't dumb. And some of them don't. Remember, we have a group of civilians that are traveling with the Space Marine Legions, the Remembrancers. It is their job as the artist of Terra and the kingdoms of Earth and the Emperor to record the great deeds of the Space Marines, whether that's in some kind of sculpture or painting. It could be in music or poetry, pictures, whatever it is. They're supposed to record all those deeds. Well, if you're Horus, if you're corrupted Horus, you don't want deeds recorded anymore because your deeds are about to get real bad. So not only does he send Space Marine legions down there, he sends those Remembrancers who are loyal to the Emperor as well, who can't defend themselves. They're human. They're like real human. Nothing special about them, except they're super artistic. I think they're all from Seattle. I don't know. And then he also sends down Titan legions from the Mechanicum. Now, side note here, the Titans are one of my favorite battle sources in this entire series. The Adeptus Mechanicus resides on Mars, and their function in the Imperium is to provide all of the science that makes the world turn. They're the ones who have the technology for creating servitors. They're the ones who can build all the weapons and ships and artillery for war. They're the designers of just the armor that the Space Marines are wearing. All that comes from the Adeptus Mechanicus. The Mechanicum, as they're more widely called, being on Mars, they were cut off from human society for quite a long time. And in their isolation, they went a little weird, because now they don't acknowledge any of the deity or god traditions of Earth, not even the Emperor, because they're not loyal to the Emperor. They just like doing their science. They worship the machine gods. The deities they believe live within technology. And they actually don't invent or create anything. Because remember, this is 40,000 years in the future. All they do is reach back in time and pull up technology that once existed and make it useful for mankind again. And one of the things they provide are Titans. Titans come in all shapes and sizes. They can be the size of a house to the size of a skyscraper. But as the name implies, they are walking war machines, behemoths on the battlefield, and they are controlled by a princeps, one who is cognitively connected to the Titan and its machine spirit. And on the bridge of the Titan, there are other controllers who help support that princeps who is controlling the Titan. It's a heavy task. Well, he sends loyal to the Emperor Titan legions down to the planet as well. So Horus is basically cleaning house at this point. And it puts you in a real position because Garviel Loken and Tark Trigaden are of like mind. They see what's happening. They see that their Primarch, their gene father, is corrupt. But what can you do about it? Because of the lodges and the secrecy, no one knows who is on what side, and that's even scarier. Sidebar into politics real quick. A lot of people are really upset about things going on in the country. However, at least when people are open about what they think, I know who you are. You know, when people will say what's on their mind and demonstrate it, you know who's who. It's actually scarier to be in an environment when you don't know what people are thinking or why they're doing what they're doing. And that's where Loken and Tergaden find themselves. Their battle brothers that they have bled with, some of them they've watched die, celebrated with, are turning against the Emperor. They're turning against Earth. Horus is turning against the Emperor. But they don't know who's loyal. And they don't know who's not. So all they can do is try to survive so that they can get a message back to Terra that Horus is corrupted. Now we're going to fast forward in the book because there's a whole lot of war that happens in all of this. And in part of the battle, the two halves of the Mordenval are able to actually face each other in battle. Tark Tergaden and Garviel Loken face off against Ezekiel Abaddon and Horus Aximon. With a last name like Abaddon, how could he not be evil? But, like, come on. Like Fabius Bile, I talked about him last year. His last name is Bile. How did we not know he was evil? Anywho. But they face off the good versus the evil, the classic conflict. And Tergaden and Garviel are able to temporarily get away. But then the other two get off world. And in fact, mysteriously, a lot of Space Marines are getting back into pods and getting off world. And don't forget our Titan legions. You know, they're starting to get weird messages, and they're seeing their Space Marine legions leave the planet. And they're like, oh God, what's going on? Horus secures all of his loyal Space Marines and deploys a world-eating bioweapon on Istvan. And what it does is literally eats and consumes all biological life it can get to. It's a nasty way to die. You're going to dissolve in your armor. Which should honestly tell you how tough the Space Marines are, that's how he had to kill them. Well, once those on the ground realize what's about to happen, they start seeking shelter. Luckily for the Princeps and the Titans can be completely sealed off from the outside world. The Mechanicum has the foresight and forethought to make it able to be sealed. Well, that's dangerous. You done pissed off the Mechanicum and a Titan. So they're able to save themselves in that way. But what if Garviel Loken? All that stomping is my dog. What if Garviel Loken? What if Tark Tergaden? Well, the end of the book in this trilogy implies that they didn't make it. But then the series was so darn popular that the Black Library knew they had to bring it back. And we got the rest of the Horus Heresy series. So we'll talk about what happens to Loken and his comrades in the next installment. I love talking about these books. I love the series. I love everything about it. So I hope you are enjoying the Horus Heresy series and this look at Warhammer. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and let's talk about it down below.